CHAP tales. Don't you wanna hear some CHAP tales?
What? Yeah.
Hello. Alright people, what is happening? Are you good? Are you really good? I hope you're all really, really good. Okay, so I was thinking about what stories I could tell ya. And yeah, this one came into the old nut, and I think it might be funny, so you might laugh. If you don't, I'm sorry. Okay, so back in the day, I always mention the estate I grew up on in Gester Road. Well, anyway, on that estate there's a community centre, and at one point, I don't know how old I was, maybe I was doing it for about 4 or 5 years, like between 10 and 13, 14, something like that. Anyway, this one time, like, we're in the hall of the community centre, and that's how we used to do it, like, and we all doing kicks and punches and whatever. And then when you finish doing your kicks or whatever, your punches, you sort of stand in a stance basically, and this stance is like rock solid, and do you know what I mean? It's how you should be when you're not attacking or whatever, you know what I mean? It's a nice place to defend yourself or whatever. But this particular day I must have been a bit tired and I weren't really on it that much, and so I'm standing there and I'm not really in a stance. And what the sensei used to do was he used to go around the class and check everyone's stances, and any stances he didn't think were very good, he would sweep you to the floor. So anyway, so I'm standing there and I don't realise that he's looking at me, like, and I'm just standing there like la-di-da. And then out of the corner of my eye, when I had eyes, I realised that he was watching me, and I was like, oh no. So I was like, I quickly got myself into a good stance and that, you know what I mean? Like knee just over your toes as you look down and all that. So I'm standing there and I'm like, and then he's coming towards me, and I thought, do you know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10, when this sensei sweeps you, you're hitting the floor. If you're luckily enough to be that 1% or at 10%, you might just stay standing. But yeah, I just weren't in the mood for karate at all that day. And anyway, so I'm standing there trying to pull off a half stance or whatever, and I knew myself that he was going to sweep me and I was going to hit the deck and it was going to hurt my ass. So he's come in front of me, and then he's looking at me, and then all of a sudden I see him go into the positioning that he needed to be in to sweep me, and he's started to sweep his leg across, and I just lifted my front leg up and he has just swept thin air, yeah, and he has just gone crashing down, and he's the one that's hit his ass. I was like, oh my God. I was just looking, I was like, oh my God. Everybody in the class burst out laughing. They're all laughing, which is making the sensei even more angry. So I thought, right, that's it, I'm off ski, mate. So I've just like ran out the hall, ran to where the front doors of the centre was, and that's where we used to just like, because he liked us to be in bare feet or whatever. So I was sticking my trainers back on, trying to tie them up and that, getting up, and then he's come running out into like the whole bit of the centre, and I'm thinking, bloody hell, what's he gonna do? Do you know what I mean? And then I looked at him and he's looked at me, and then a big smile's just come on his face, and he started like laughing, like, and then he's just said to me, look, we're sweet, don't worry, we're sweet, come back into the hole. So I was like, all right, sweet. So we went back into the hall, and everybody started clapping, like, so I don't have a clue what he said to him before he's run out to get me, like, and yeah, so we went back into the hall, and we went over to where I was standing, and I got back into a stance. Everyone's in stances watching, and then he starts going into this speech about how I was ready for his attack, and everybody should should learn from this situation that I had just shown the class. I weren't ready for nothing, mate. I was just making sure I weren't getting hurt. So everybody was like, do you know what I mean? Like half behind the set when the sensei weren't looking or whatever. People next to me was like, "That was so funny, John. That was so funny." I was like, all right. And then so that was just nuts. But yeah, we finished the lesson that day, and then because there was a few of the Ingester boys that were in the karate club. There was quite a few people that didn't even live on Ingester Road. Like, I don't even know where they live, but because the sensei, he was out of the Cali, so I think he was bringing a few of his people down from the Cali as well. Like, and then you had loads of adjacent estates and whatever, and everyone wanted to get involved. But it was just so funny. It was like I just lifted my leg right up at the right moment when he couldn't have stopped. Like, he was already committed to this sweep, and my leg went up and boom, whoosh, it swept under it, and then he's just gone crashing down onto his ass. Oh my god, I thought he was gonna batter me or something, so that's why I was trying to do a runner, like. But I don't think anybody else like giggled or tried not to do anything that day, because he probably would have tried to make an example of you, if you like. But I can remember leaving there that day and going home and taking my gi off and that, and my belt and whatever, and then putting my probably a Arsenal football kit, and then going around the 4-goal pitch, as we called it, behind Grange Mill, and and playing football, and like the other 3-4 people that were part of the karate club was in the pitch playing football with me, and we couldn't stop laughing. We were just going over it and over it and over it, and they were saying like from different parts of the hall that they was watching from, like it looked proper funny and different of it. That is nuts, mate. I'll tell you what, that is proper funny. All right, nice one. Thank you for listening and that. Please like, subscribe, smash bells, comment, do a little fan dance, do a couple of key eyes, and and I will speak to you soon, baby. Mwah.
CHAP tales. Don't you wanna hear some CHAP tales?